I'm a dude playing a dude disguised as another dude.
Hello. My name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die.
Why so serious? I could crush you like a worm.
At my signal, unleash hell.
Do or do not. There is no truth.
All right. Hey, everyone. Happy Monday. Welcome to Christian Warrior Talk on Patriot Crusader Mission, episode number 49.
Hello. One away from the big 5-0.
Yep.
Ken's going to have that honor.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to speaking with him. He had a great Easter Day sermon. Really enjoyed it. He just takes things in totally different directions, which, if you guys haven't ever heard his take on Adam and Eve in the garden, he's the only one I've heard put it out that way. And it rings so true to me.
But it made sense to me too.
Yeah. It rings so true to me. It's absolutely amazing. And he does it with such emotion.
Yeah.
I
think that's one of the coolest things about Ken's preaching is how emotionally invested he gets in it. And he is not afraid, big burly man that he is, to
weep.
To weep, shed some tears up there on stage, which really makes the whole what he's teaching so much more powerful.
So we hope everyone had a happy resurrection weekend. He is risen, and we are saved in his grace. So, the hope of the world was celebrated. We had a very laid back, chill Easter, with a lot of reflection on the Lord. Hey, Harold, welcome. I'm glad you're on time here, brother. And let me pull that down. Welcome. But, and I feel a little guilty about that. I feel guilty that it wasn't, we don't have anyone here anyways.
That we didn't do like big feast and stuff like that.
Yeah, I just, I think we need to come up with some new traditions for B, and
I don't
all
think
that
there's
stuff.
anything to feel guilty about as long as you knew what the day meant and you spent some time to reflect on that, as you said. Obviously, it's nice. You see we have some friends who have huge local families, and they make it more of a day and an occasion, and it's when you see someone having that, you want that for yourself as well. But I don't think there's anything to feel guilty about.
I can honestly say that I did keep my thoughts on Jesus for most of the day.
Mm-hmm.
Watch The Chosen a second time, season 2.
Which we're going to talk about
smokes,
tonight.
Let's get into that. All right. Well, people are here. Let's get going. Cue the intro. And welcome back. So,
We're still here.
Yeah, we're still here. So, holy smokes, if you watch The Chosen,
Raise your hands.
let us know. Raise
If
a
you've
hand,
watched
thumbs
it.
up.
Because
If
there
you
might
watched
be
The
some
Chosen.
spoilers, which,
There's
guys,
gonna be some spoilers. 'cause-
hint, it's all in the Bible. So how much spoilers are going to be, but it's good. We watched it twice.
And it's already got a totally, completely different feel than season 1.
You think?
Yeah, just because the season 1 was the honeymoon phase for all
the dynamic of the relationships
of the disciples, and now they're already segregating into their groups
Their little
and
cliques,
alliances.
Hey, Steven.
And already started that. Hey, Steven, good to see you guys. Or see you, I'm sorry. I feel like, I mean, that's probably the way it was. You can't, having been around a lot of dudes and traveled with, SEAL team guys and, Army guys and everything the rest, it just kind of breaks into things like that. And I think that's kind of real.
Oh, absolutely. And as you said, you get some of that in the text of the Bible.
Yeah.
So you know that they're not making it up in this, but of course the dialogue and all of the subtleties are enhanced when you can put it into a show like that. So it was entertaining, but it also helped to deepen the storyline and everything that they went through and that Jesus went through to keep them all in check. And I think as I told you, I saw something that said the biggest miracle is that Jesus got them all to work together.
Yeah.
All of these people from different paths that they were from.
And, you saw a little bit of Jesus getting frustrated with them on the walk, saying if we're going to stop the debate every time we do something different, it's going to basically be miserable for all of us.
Yeah.
But Jesus in episode 1 of season 2 goes off on John and James. And that was one of my favorite parts of the episode.
Oh, he still does it in such, it's in a compassionate way. But yeah, as you said, I cannot imagine being scolded by Jesus.
Like,
and that is it.
We
all deserve to be.
Yeah.
But it was a great scene.
You just would want to I just want to die. Just let down the most amazing man in the history of the world.
Well, we do that every day when we sin, right?
I know, but it's just to have him sitting there and, it was magical. I thought that was magical. I also like the part where Jesus is talking to the dad. Mm-hmm. And the dad's going off on Jesus.
Hi, Terry.
Hey,
Glad
good to see
you're
you, Terry.
back.
Yeah. Hey, we're so happy to have you back. We're
talking
now
last
talking.
Few weeks. Gosh, it's like a lifetime in our world.
Yeah, exactly. But all things are going good.
We are dropping spoilers about The Chosen episode 1, season 2. So if you don't want to know, mute for a few minutes. But we hope you don't, because it was great.
So, Lauren, what was your favorite part?
I had it. What was I going to say? Oh, I think so they incorporate the story of the Good Samaritan
that was great.
Into the episode, but in a way that you don't see it coming, really.
Yeah.
They kind of come into it from a different perspective. And then at the end, you're like, oh, that's that story. So I thought that was neat how they played into that and kind of the evolution of the disciples, seeing Jesus interact with, they have one of the guy who beat the Jew up is the one kind of the main character in the storyline. And so you see it from that perspective and the disciples working through Jesus helping this person out and, who he might have been a murderer and all of that. And so I thought the evolution of that storyline was neat because it built on itself very well.
Very clever, very well done. And I'd have to say one of my parts also was Jesus waking up, laughing, thinking of the guy who woke up who's broken leg he healed.
Yeah.
It's just such a human response to be, giddy with laughter, knowing that family is going nuts because that guy with the broken leg is now dancing around.
Yeah.
And just.
So to sum this all up, go watch it if you haven't. Watch it again if you already have. We're on take 2 so far, and I'm sure there'll be more.
Yeah.
And we are anxiously waiting. They said hopefully by the end of this week for episode 2. And if you did not hear kind of how they're doing the episodes, they're getting them out as soon as they have them done. It's not on a set schedule. So he said 2 would hopefully be out before the end of this week and 3 shortly after. And then there might be a little gap before 4. But they've just, they're kind of backlogged on their editing and they're just turning and burning. So It's going to be a little sporadic, but you might get some bonus episodes kind of really close together. So,
yeah, the other thing that I have tried to take from The Chosen and apply forward in my life is I am not leaving bed before praying my prayer for the day, to God. Like watching Jesus do that, like joking around with his boys, and before they all do whatever, they all just drop with it. Before they even step onto the floor, they all pray before they leave their bed.
Do you have a prayer that in mind that you're going to say as far as kind of?
Well, I just basically am, thanking him for everything. And then a prayer that, for that, everything I do that day is to honor him. And to continue to draw me in him and to point out where I misstep. And just kind of like a general grounding prayer of, hey, today I give it all to you. Send me, over and over again. Your will, not mine, my life, and I've been doing that.
I think that's a great way to better your chances of not waking up on the wrong side of the bed. To kind of start your day in that mindset before going downstairs and rolling into the worldly issues that we all have.
Well, it's so easy to grab your phone, look at the news, and get mad first thing in the morning.
Yeah,
and I'm fighting so hard to not do that. And particularly us being a podcast and in multiple companies and everything else, I am constantly wanting to go to my phone and see, oh man, did we get our big break last night? Did anything happen? Anything huge?
Not
did
yet.
One of our videos
Y'all are
go
great,
viral?
but it hasn't happened yet. Chris Scott, try to start with the Lord's Prayer. Hi.
Hey, good to see you, brother. And tell Danae we said hello, because where you are, she is.
Yes.
But yeah, man, the Chosen just did not disappoint. I was almost afraid to watch season 2 because season 1 left on such a high note. And it also was really cool how Jesus, when he reprimanded James and John, when he's like, they are listening to me without miracles. Like the message, the truth is resonating with them.
Yeah.
With the Samaritans. So it was just fleshes out the Bible so much more to me. It just makes it more three-dimensional, and it's just a beautiful.
So there was that one line that Ken caught in the trailer as well. Just the use of the word a way versus the way, as far as kind of what Jesus is providing for people to get to heaven, a way versus the way. Everything else seemed biblically sound. I'm not one to know every single word in the Bible, so Ken might have caught more things, and so it's kind of, you have to kind of think about why would they have done that? How big of a deal is that? And then also just see, does it stack upon itself, kind of other examples.
I'm really hoping they don't veer off course and try to please everyone and just do the right thing.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that they're going to correct that later on.
It'd be interesting. I don't know. I mean, they seem pretty active in social media. And I was looking after the trailer came out and after Ken caught that. I was just looking in the comments on the trailer to see if anyone said anything, and everyone was just full of praise. So I'd be curious if someone posed that to them and if they would answer that in the chat or in the social media comments.
Yeah.
Just to
they also started with all the the first few minutes was the Gospel of John. There's John older, with Mary older, years down the road after James had just been martyred. That's the first martyr of the church. And so it was interesting to see them all older.
Yeah.
And how things went.
Yeah, it was a neat way for them to start.
Yeah, it was just, hey, Brandy, good to see you. It was, 10 out of 10. I couldn't be any happier with it.
Yeah. Were there tears?
Always. I'm sorry. I just love that guy.
Yeah, well, it was interesting. So you convinced a friend, Mike Ferrugio, if you're watching. I don't think you are right now, but later, to watch it. I mean, he finally was starting to watch season 1, and he wrote the same comment that you had about seeing Jesus for the first time and literally losing your breath.
Couldn't breathe.
And he didn't know that you had that experience. So that's very interesting that it struck you guys the same way.
Yeah, we're referring to season 1, episode 1 at the end where Jesus, comes to Mary Magdalene and heals her and calls her by name. And when that happened, I couldn't even breathe. Like I was just taking these little, and it was totally involuntary. It was, it was magical.
Mm-hmm.
It was magical. That's when I knew this show was, something
Invaluable.
special.
Yeah.
Something special. At least it just strikes a chord with me. It may not have that way with everyone. Other people may think it's just, a stupid show, but for me, it's been
I think it's worth the time
life-changing.
they do a lot of dialogue with the director, the creator of the show and the director. He talks kind of before the live streams.
I'm glad you
that
do
happens,
too, Stephen.
Saturday and Sunday. And they have a lot of other video content out. But he speaks a lot about all of the various touches by God that are in the show and the creation of the show. And I think that's worth listening to as well, so that you can be reinforced in that God is in this.
Yeah.
All of the things that they've had happen that they can only explain that it's God's hand.
Well, it's
so
just,
they're neat to listen to, especially if you're a financial supporter of the show.
one of the limiting factors, unfortunately, is the fact that it's on YouTube, and the older generation may not know how to use YouTube, or the app thing is clumsy on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a shame. I hope it makes it to the syndication, the Netflix or whatever, because, my dad, for example, dad doesn't even have internet in his house. He's a crazy hillbilly in Plymouth, Massachusetts. And this show would rock him to the core. So I'm going to have to buy the DVDs and send them to him, because, it's not something he can turn on, the TV.
Yeah.
And I think they went over 100 million views. Let me pull up how many views.
I know that their goal is 1 billion.
Yep. So they're 10%.
Yeah. So
of that.
Just fantastic. I did see there's some like Christian network streaming services out there, and it's a subscription service.
Coming up on 105 million.
That's awesome. Yep. But their cover photo for this paid service is The Chosen, and that to me seems very dishonest.
So what's up?
It's a Christian content streaming service,
yeah.
And you can get like a free trial right now, but then it turns into a paid thing. But if you look at like the ad is showing The Chosen, which is coming across as
that's where
as that you have to pay them to see it, where it's free on these platforms. So it seems like they're riding the tails a little bit, which I thought was kind of sucky.
So on another good note,
hi Jacob.
Hey Jacob, good to see you. We move on the 29th. Well, the 27th, we're going to be out of here. So for everybody who wants to come help, the pods will be here on the 19th. Well, the going away party's on the 17th here. So you're welcome to. We're going to have a big bonfire barbecue.
Jason was like,
on the 17th.
Should we just have it be that they show up for the party and it's actually a packing party?
Day. grab a bite of barbecue.
We promise we'll give you drinks
couch.
After.
And then
no, guys, we're not going to do that.
The pods get here on the 19th and they leave on the 23rd. And then we're going to have a U-Haul with like our bed and last minute things on the 27th. So the cleaners can do the 28th. And
ask us how much packing we've done. And what day is it? It's the 5th. So my stomach just got a little all squirrely. It's like, we will make it.
We'll make it. We've done it before. And we are throwing so much out.
Yeah.
My rule is if it's particle board, it's not moving.
They've moved twice, and we can tell.
You can tell. Particle board, every time you move, it's great if you buy it and you're never going to move it.
Yeah.
But the second you move it, it all breaks. So everything particle board is going in the trash. We've downsized. We've got a quarter of the house we used to have.
No, we're not at a quarter. That's optimistic, but we are moving to Johnson City. Yeah, we are moving to 44 acres just slightly southeast of the city, like 10 minutes, 15 minutes.
10 minutes from town, bro. It's amazing. It's so amazing.
So we're super excited.
Yeah, we're totally pumped.
But all of the pieces, there's still like things that have to happen, but God's got this. So not stressing him. We're confident that it'll go through.
Yeah.
Unless he changes his mind, and if God changes his mind, then okay.
We're all good no matter
Okay.
where he sends us or how we do it, you know. The other good news I want to get into is I get an email. You know, I'm not special. Like I'm a member of the Gab
All
community,
users, yeah.
and their CEO, who's a believer, called out the lukewarm Christians in the world and wrote a tour de force letter.
Yeah, it was great.
Like, holy smokes, he put his faith front and center.
Yeah.
Called everyone out for it. Said, cut your cords, cancel your Netflix, cancel all your big, tech accounts, everything you can do, and start homeschooling your kids, because we need to go all in and start playing the long game.
Yeah.
But I read it to Lauren today, and it was very well done, and made me want to start doing more on Gab. I'll tell you that.
Which platform is Gab like? Do you recall?
Gab is a website.
It's a website.
Yeah, so it's kind of like I would say it's probably more like Reddit.
Oh, okay.
If from my limited experience with it.
Mm-hmm.
You can have groups and you can do other things there, but the main thing is that they can't deplatform you off of your phone because it's a website.
Yeah.
Right, which is great.
Yeah, so this is this email is titled "The Time for Lukewarm Christianity is Over," and this is just one excerpt from it. Unfortunately, many American Christians have adopted a secular human worldview and are living lives similar to the way I was in my early 20s. They are embracing demonic critical theory and the woke gospel instead of the gospel of Jesus Christ. Instead of worshiping God, they worship idols in the form of celebrities, sports players, and politicians. They value material stuff over the fruits of the Spirit. They seek comfort and fleeting pleasure over the suffering and courage it takes to live an unapologetic and authentic Christian life. They are lukewarm Christians.
Yeah, and he just goes off about going all in, and everything that we're saying here. But anytime you get somebody successful running a social media thing, wearing his heart on his sleeve like that, and wearing his faith out there,
yeah, I mean,
because I
can only imagine the conversations behind the scenes when the people who are more concerned about the success of the platform than his personal beliefs. We're like, oh, should they send this? Because there's going to be a lot of people who receive that who are that lukewarm Christian. And I think, kind of the same step that we took kind of over the last 6 months of saying, yes, this might impact our primary company, but we are going to step out in the light as Christians and a Christian influenced business. I think good on him, and I think that he will reap the rewards for that ultimately.
So there you have one guy doing it right. Let's get into everybody who sucks now.
Well, okay, so just go support Gab. Send them some love for standing strong in the faith.
Yeah, now that we're gonna have a real internet connection, we're gonna be uploading to multiple places, and we'll probably stream to Gab as well.
Yeah.
So let's talk about a band that we both used to like called Mumford & Sons. Lauren, go ahead and cue this one up.
Okay, so there's kind of two parts of this story. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. Nago? No?
Yeah,
Andy,
I don't know
no?
if it's Nago, NGO.
NGO. You've probably seen him. He's been interviewed. He's a journalist. He's been interviewed on Tucker and other Fox shows.
Wall Street Journal as well.
He
and other
is the
places.
guy who's kind of embedded himself with Antifa
Yeah, he's Asian.
since 2016 and increasingly so over the last couple of years. And he's the one who's been beaten up several times and just kind of really everyone's gone after him because he wrote this book. I can't remember what is it called, kind of exposing Antifa and what they're doing, kind of trying to take down our democracy. And so one band member, so this band Mumford & Sons, good music, I used to listen to them a lot, tweeted in support of Andy last week, I think it was. He said something to the effect of kind of what an important piece of literature, brave man, something to that effect. And of course, the mob descended on this band member.
Way too many hairy armpit having hippie chicks and hipsters listen to Mumford & Sons, and they lost their mind that somebody might say something that they don't agree with.
He's their banjoist, Winston Marshall. And So he got massively canceled. And so he, instead of taking a stand, he's done what
He caved like a wet
pretty
noodle.
much everyone else has done in the face of this cancel culture. And he has issued an apology, and he has stepped back from his band because he has hurt his band members.
Guys, once you say something and you're out, there's nothing, you can't apologize enough for the mob.
No.
They're not going to back off you.
No.
They're not going to leave you be. You might as well stand your damn ground and be a principled person, because they're not going to ever forgive you. They don't have grace in their heart. They're not Christians.
Yeah. That about sums it up. So yeah, I mean, it's all of a sudden, based on all the feedback that he's got, he realized the mistake and the pain that he caused, and all of the suffering that is truly
Makes me
behind.
want to vomit.
Yeah. So
Makes me want to vomit. That somebody can be that spineless, and shame on his band members for caving on that too.
I'm sure they freaked out that someone brought the spotlight like that on them. So yeah, I'm sure they were glad that he stepped away, because they could say, "Oh, that wasn't us."
Yeah, we fired him. So now, guess what? Now everybody in the right's going to be like, "Screw you."
Yeah.
You're gonna, censor somebody. We know how you feel now. Like, now you've got companies. Companies are red and blue.
Mm-hmm.
Like, literally, companies are dividing red and blue. Sorry if I blew your ears out by punching my mic there with my ridiculously awesome ring. It's titanium and awesome. But anyways, Coca-Cola. If you drink Coca-Cola, you probably don't watch this program. Delta Airlines. I'm never going to give Delta my money. I don't care if they're cheaper. I will not fly Delta. Looks like United jumped on that wagon.
Yeah. So that's one of the other stories for tonight. But yeah, they came out in support of the Georgia law stuff, and how all of this voting ID in Georgia is just racist and awful. And so yeah, however, I was like to Jason, why are the airlines even bothering to get involved? It's like they're
globalists.
Yeah.
They're not Americans, right? They are international conglomerate, cesspool globalists who want the reset.
Well, I told him earlier, I'm not going to be flying anyways, at least not with B, because there's been more and more videos out. One just new of 2-year-olds, so kind of somewhere in the over 2 mark, but little kids refusing to wear their mask for an entire flight, and so they're getting kicked off. And there's no way.
Special needs kid and everything.
No way I'm going to subject B to that. There's no way she would wear a mask for. She won't even keep a stinking barrette in her hair. So there's no way.
I'm not surrendering my freedoms at all anymore. If I don't have to get on a plane, I'm not going to. Like, it is,
Sucks for you, because I think with your job you're going to have to.
Like, I'm going to be driving or flying private or something. I don't know.
Oh, flying private. Okay.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to get my
Do you
pilot's
guys hear
license.
that? And he's like,
I have to get my pilot's license and giddy up.
Okay, now we're gonna learn how to fly. All right. Well, add pilot lessons to the budget.
Yep, there we go. High rolling now.
We might be able to fit a runway on our property.
We could fit a runway on our property easily.
You'd have to bank pretty hard to get over the hill, but you can make it.
I just go over the house.
Over the house. Good. Okay, guys. All right.
So anyways, just, those companies totally suck. I would love to make a cheat sheet for you guys on who to not support.
It'll be a long list.
It would be, but all the companies affiliated with Coca-Cola, all the companies affiliated with Nike, all the companies affiliated with Delta and United and everything else, and we got to start spending our money with people who investing in our own community.
Yeah.
Because this is a one-sided war. We're just, our people are all getting canceled. They're all everybody's getting totally hammered, and we're not fighting back.
I think we're fighting back in isolated ways, the way that Ben Shapiro hired that actress Gina. Yeah. It's kind of supporting people who get canceled, but it's certainly not kind of a national impact level of fighting back yet.
Yeah, and just let's The Mandalorian, right? So
I was surprised you even watched that the other day, honestly.
yeah, I was checking out The Mandalorian the other day because we got Disney for free with Verizon,
Mm-hmm.
and I enjoyed season 1. It was a little rough, whatever. But now I watch it, I can't even get into it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's so bad, right? It's so bad. Now, I dig the Mandalorian warrior culture, the lore behind it.
Is it bad because you just don't like the storylines or how they're doing
just
it, or
find
is
the
it bad
Star
because you know
Wars
the
universe-
politics behind it?
It's the politics behind it, all of that. But the Star Wars universe is terrible. Like, none of it makes any sense.
Right.
Like,
Well,
none of the science makes sense. None of the technology makes sense.
Yeah.
It's like ridiculous. Like, they can travel at warp speed, but they can't make a button smaller than that big. They've never had an LED light in their life. I mean, it's absolutely, garbage. It's like cyberpunk meets, sci-fi. I don't know. It's just bad.
one more to cross off the list.
Yeah,
of
one more,
wasting
and
time.
it sucks because any fictional or not, or even any warrior culture I dig, which is the whole Mandalorian
Mhm.
thing.
Mhm.
But I just can't get into it, so I'm done. I won't finish that series either.
Yeah.
So but Disney. I mean, what am I? The old classics. Am I supposed to cut my daughter off from Finding Nemo?
Yeah,
Lion
I mean
King?
that's where do you draw the line on drawing the line? Really, if
I'm drawing the line as I'm not going to put any money in their pocket.
mm-hmm.
Right. So if I'm getting it for free, great.
Okay.
But if I'm not going to pay extra.
Or like
To fund them.
go out and watch their new movies in the
Yeah.
movie
Well, all
theater
their
kind
new
of thing.
stuff is, embrace. I mean, don't
Yeah.
even get me started.
My heart did melt a little bit today because Lion King, like the original Lion King, was what I grew up on. That was like my first movie, and I loved it. And I put it on for B today, and she was sitting in the chair, and I was just watching her love the beginning, and I was like, oh, passed on the torch of the Lion King. And
Graphics
then
are so bad.
I think it's so simple and refreshing.
It's like watching Bambi. Like, it's stick figures almost moving on the screen.
I don't mind it
compared
at
to
all.
like Moana and all that stuff.
I don't mind it. I mean, I watched like 5 minutes of the new Lion King, and it was awful the way that they tried to make it like real animals, and it's just you can't do a story like that with real animals and the emotion. Just
Yeah, I think every time they try to do that, like Lady and the Tramp and
yeah.
other things, it's utterly failed. I don't think that that the live action thing
Yeah,
works.
no, not for the animal ones at least, but yeah, all good. But back to the second part of the Mumford and Sons story, and this reporter Andy, is he has literally moved out of the country because
He had to flee
of,
the United States because of
and
him being hunted by Antifa.
it just struck me to say you had to flee
Your country.
the United States, and it's like everyone flees their country to come to the United States, and here now we have people fleeing, and there was obviously always the people joking, with the election. Oh, if Trump wins, I'm going to leave, and you
None
knew
of
that
them
you
ever
knew
did.
that they never were going to,
Unless they were a
because
pedophile and they
we're
moved
the
to
greatest
Greece to
country.
avoid extradition. But anyways.
But for this person to be so at risk for their life because of doing their job, for exposing all of the craziness right now, he literally had to leave, and I just that kind of blows my mind a little bit. But I'm also not surprised.
Hey, Victor, good to see you.
And I'd say that he's just the first of many that might find themselves in that situation.
Yeah, it's, you were asking, like, where would you go? And I'm like, for me, I think it'd be Poland right now.
Yeah.
One of the most Christian hardcore nations out there because they live in the threat of the Soviet Union. They've almost been exterminated, and they have not forgotten. They are pushing back against Muslim extremists. They don't even allow them.
Mm-hmm.
And, I think that's the culture I would identify with the most.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
But their gun laws suck there.
Yeah.
I mean, they're still not as evolved as, America's the last hope. There is nowhere else to go.
Yeah. So
Like Ronald
that's why
Reagan
was
said it.
just
There
so
is
crazy to me.
no further barrier to retreat. This is it. Either we take it back or we hold on to it, or it's gone. And it's the last free place on earth.
Yeah. So yeah, it's for him to have left. Just
Yeah,
says
that's pretty
something.
shaky.
It says something. So, do you want to get into the Chauvin, or do you want to wrap up MLB?
Yeah. So as you guys know, Major League Baseball decided they wanted to, they don't say anything against China, which commits genocide and forced harvest organs from the Uyghurs and has no freedoms, and no one can push back over there. They don't criticize them, but Georgia passes a law that requires voter ID, and they decide they're going to take the All-Star game or whatever, some game from them. I don't know. Is it the All-Star? I don't even know.
Yeah, I think so.
And they decide that is their hill they're going to die on.
Yeah.
But
not any of the
I'm not
other
gonna lie.
games.
Yeah. I'm not going to lie. Baseball has always sucked. It's always been the most boring game on the planet. Any game that has a 7, that has the stretch,
Yeah.
because everyone's a freaking sleep, because it's so boring. So boring. It's the lamest game ever. The only thing worse than that is pool
I was going to
or
say
golf.
Golf?
Golf is the worst, right? Because the golf is literally the worst. You don't even have to be an athlete to be a golfer. You just,
Don't get him started.
it's
on
like
golf.
pool with a bigger table, but baseball just sucks. But anyways, if you're watching adult sports in 2021, what the heck's wrong with you? Like, I get it if you want to support your alma mater college where you went, you gave 4 years of your life, buying into that, you support that, whatever. If the school is still something that you want, you can identify with.
Yeah. Yeah.
I get supporting kids, or, maybe you had a favorite kid that grew up in your high school system that you supported and turned out to be Tom Brady. I get that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But for 99.9% of the population, we don't have that
It's
connection.
just entertainment. Well, I know that they're getting a decent amount of pushback now, for this action.
I hope
still,
they lose all. I'd love to see all of them go bankrupt. The NFL, all of them.
Yeah.
I don't miss it one bit. From a sports junkie, watching, countless games and talk shows and radio and debating and fantasy football and blah, 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 to nothing. And my life is so much better. So much better.
Dirt track racing, Brandy, huh?
I'm sure it's great. Anything that's probably not as mainstream, that, engine heads and all that stuff, that sounds really cool. I just don't even consider that a sport because,
it's different.
It's a car doing all the work, and the guy or gal driving is like a gamer. They're just like a gamer in a car.
I'd say dirt track racing. Is
Yeah,
that in a
MMA,
car, or is that on
MMA? I still think is worth watching. That I don't even. That's combat sports. That's a little different than a game. I don't consider MMA a game.
No,
it's not a game. Like, games are, running up score or whatever. MMA is you beat the hell out of your opponent.
it's still a game in that the only reason you're doing it is because it's an organized activity with an end goal versus like a street fight or whatever. But it's just a different.
You can actually learn stuff watching that stuff, though. Like, we were watching the highlights this other day with this guy. It must have been an old clip. I didn't see it, but it was amazing. I showed Lauren. This dude got barely kicked in the groin, and he acted like he was totally wounded. And the guy who kicked him in the groin came charging forward, and he just blasted him into next year. It was amazing.
Hi, William.
Hey, the Reverend Hillbilly Graham family.
I like it.
It's good to see you, William.
I
Good
like
to see
it.
you. Yeah, good to see you. So, anyways, anybody still watching sports, I don't know how you can. I know cops that still watch sports after those leagues call them murderers and racists and everything. And if you can't make cops, or you can't make people who have an active interest, who are being hurt by it, stop watching it, what do you do with society like that? It's really? Is football so important to you?
That's the cultural equivalency of that lukewarm Christian we talked about earlier.
Yeah, but it's like, I know this one guy in Boston. I'm not going to say his name. He's a pastor, I think. He's involved in the church, black guy. You know, I really looked up to him. Super lot of integrity. And he's still all in on this crap. And I'm just like, if anybody, I figured it would be him.
Was he a cop also, or he was just a pastor?
Cop. He was a cop. You know, and I just don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it. You know, do I think Tom Brady's a great guy? Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Do I think he's pro-Trump? I do.
Well, I think it's, you know, people are, especially in this last year, they're so desperate for enjoyment and distraction and all of that stuff, and so they are willing to compartmentalize the
well, guess what?
All of the baggage that comes along with it, and just watch the game.
There you go, John. Welcome to the program, by the way. John Farras. I usually spend game days at the range. Awesome. That's where we all should be.
Yep.
Unfortunately, lead is awful expensive right now. So all of us are doing low round count drills or airsoft or simunition, dry firing. All those techniques are great. I really love airsoft, particularly when you want to practice in your house or do force on force. It's super easy to set up a range in your house. You literally take all your Chewy boxes, whatever you got, you tape them to the wall, and you can, you know, basically go live fire in your house.
I'm looking at a lot of the trim here in this room where Jason may have done some practice before.
We've done CQC courses in this room with Sam, and there are BBs embedded in the trim.
In the wall. So
yeah. But
low impact.
That was before we realized that we could just throw cardboard up and the cardboard would eat it all.
Do you still need Christians involved in that type of entertainment?
What entertainment is that?
The sports entertainment. So what do you mean by, do you still need Christians involved?
Yeah, I don't understand what you're saying there, Brandy.
So trying to influence them in a more positive way, Brandy, is that what you mean? Or
yeah, so, you know, for a little training tip for everyone out there, if you want to save a lot of money and you want to get really good, go and get the most expensive airsoft pistol that is the same model or mock-up of your weapon and train with that as much as you want in your house. You can have a live fire range. Go, you know, if you get one of the higher ends when they'll fit in your holster, you'll rock, and you're going to be able to do everything that you would do with your pistol. They got blowback. They get all that
it's
same
so
round count.
impressive how
all that
realistic
stuff.
those look.
The only thing I've had is they're nowhere near as durable as a real firearm. So you're going to break it. You're going to want to get extra parts and everything else. You know,
so
John tons of training with laser light. Lasers are another way. I just really love force on force. Every time I shoot someone up or someone shoots me up, I learn things.
Yeah.
You know, and everyone learns things. You learn that 99.9% of shooting is garbage. Standing still and shooting just means you're going to die. Yeah. Right?
Unless you have some good cover.
Unless you chose your fighting position well, or you get the drop on someone.
Do you want to talk about laser lights real quick since you mentioned it? I know that a lot of people have questions about it, and especially with LEO. There's the debates about whether to use it. And
he's talking about a brand where the laser shoots.
Oh,
the target.
gotcha. Okay, all right, never mind.
I'm a huge fan of having lasers and optics on all your weapons. I'm a huge fan of having lasers on, you know, duty weapons for police officers, as we had talked about. I did it against company policy when I was here in Albemarle County because I want, you know, anything that'll get me off my front sight so I can see what's going on in the person's face and what they're holding, what's behind them, and allows me to take in more data to determine whether I'm going to shoot. So if that red dot is on his chest, and I'm over here and I can still see it over there. I can look anywhere I want and I can really figure out what's going on before I need to pull that trigger.
Yep. Makes sense.
And unfortunately, the anti-militarization of the police, they just want them staring at frontside focus. Well, frontside focus means you stare at the dot on the front of your pistol.
You're focusing on the front side.
Everything else goes blurry, so you don't know if he dropped it. You don't know if a kid just ran behind the back. You don't know.
And so are they against that just because of the perception
because
that
they don't know
it's scarier?
Yeah, well, because it's scarier. Yeah. They watch military movies with red lights. It's literally the uninformed making stupid decisions.
Yeah. William, since we're moving to Johnson City, how about you both wear bib overalls on the show one time to show us you were going country? I don't think it's quite as country as you think.
Yeah.
Johnson City isn't anyways.
Now, I mean, we are buying a farm.
We are buying a farm, so we'll probably have to wear some overalls. It's so funny, the perception of going down south. Like your mother.
Oh my God, my mother is ridiculous. She thinks we're
moving into a cult.
She thinks like literally moving into what's that Burt Reynolds movie, Deliverance?
Yeah.
And I'm just like, what are you talking about?
Because we're talking about
Like,
moving to a Christian
You live on the island of Nova
community.
Scotia. No one on that island even has teeth, including you. So, I mean, for the love of God, who you think you're calling? You know, rednecks. You're like the northern toothless people of the islands. I mean, come on, man. Sorry, Mom, but for the love of God, you have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's just there is this perception, like when you say you're moving to the south, and moving to a Christian
you're darn
community.
straight we're moving to the south, where America still exists.
I was informed today that I have to start drinking sweet tea.
Yes, we're gonna have to have a big thing that brews
Just
sweet tea.
a constant jug of iced sweet tea on our.
Well, when someone comes by, people just drop on over.
But
You
when
gotta
they
have
drop
the sweet tea ready. You know.
Can we introduce unsweet tea to the
Oh
south?
my God!
Is that sacrilege?
They'll run us out of town with pitchforks. If they just ask anyone in the south, what kind of tea? Sweet tea.
And it's supposed to
Where
break
all
your
the
teeth.
Northerners are the
unsweet
unsweet
tea.
Yeah.
Your tea is supposed to break your
You
teeth.
and what's that tea that you drink? Like all this weird teas.
What's the treat?
Just
Yes,
today.
on you must drink sweet tea. Oh gosh. I have to like rinse my mouth
Yes!
out as soon as I do. It's so sweet. The sweeter, the better. It's
Yep.
good for a couple sips, and then it's just like, holy smokes! I'll dilute it. I'll do a mix.
We're gonna have a
Is that-
big pitcher. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great.
Can we sweeten it with maple syrup?
Of course, you can sweeten
Instead
whatever
of-
you want.
Whatever they usually sweeten it with.
Tons of sugar, simple syrup is what they
Yeah,
usually use
yeah.
now. So,
Oy,
but,
oy, oy.
yeah.
Anyways, do you want to talk about Chauvin trial? Have
do.
you guys been watching that and all the headlines? It's still, I think it's still in the prosecution's hands. So, of course, we're getting all of the one-sided opinions about everything that happened. And again, not necessarily to justify what happened, but you can definitely sense the bias. And I thought you had a good point kind of what we are being set up for with all of the media coverage, the way that it's gone.
Media
so far.
hasn't learned a damn thing, and they won't, because even Fox, I've listened to Fox bringing all these witnesses where no one is saying the obvious.
Which is?
Right. Well, I'll get to that. They're all setting this narrative where there's no way he didn't commit murder.
Mm-hmm.
And he's going to be found guilty, and they're setting the expectation.
Because his charge is
that
what level?
He's charged with murder.
I know, but I can't
Murder
remember.
1.
Okay.
And I believe is what
Like
he's
is
charged
it
with.
premeditated? I
Yeah.
can't remember. Yeah.
So
Plus hate crime, probably.
they've got, and then they got these piece of garbage cops coming on there. And some dude who hasn't been in patrol in 20 years working homicide, pushing a pencil, trying to talk patrol with guys who are out in the streets, saying that anytime you kneel on somebody, it's deadly force. Like, guy doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. And here's the sad thing: his police chief coming up there and saying they're all doing it to save their own ass.
Oh yeah.
They're all
yeah.
cowards.
But the fact
Anybody who is testifying against him is a freaking coward who is throwing the badge under because they don't want to deal with it anymore.
Yeah.
Right? They're offering this guy out there. Now, I'm not saying he didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah.
If a fair trial happens and they convict him on being mean,
Yeah. Well, I mean,
or assault or whatever. But here's the thing: if the dude died to an overdose, it can't be murder because that's not what killed him.
I think that's what it's going to come down to if they will be,
Don't
honest
take
with the results.
methamphetamine and a ton of what's the other stuff? The stuff that's killing everyone.
Fentanyl.
Yeah, and fentanyl, 3 times or 4 times the level to kill someone, and he took it. He was acting erratically, and then he took it while he was there because he didn't want to get caught on it.
Yeah.
So his toxicology spiked up, and the knee on him had nothing to do with his death.
Maybe
Beyond
not.
a reasonable doubt, no freaking way.
I think is that the what needs to be sussed out of would he have died anyways
Exactly.
if he was in that position or if he was not
He
in that
was
position.
going to die regardless because of all the drugs. If they can show that, if they get a toxicology on here and say that, reasonable doubt, is it possible or probable that he died from a heart arrhythmia from doing fentanyl and crystal meth at the same damn time? He's foaming at the mouth and he had COVID. Like, it had nothing to do with his knee.
Well, could you have all of that and still have it be that the fact that he was kneeling on his neck for that long sped up his death and therefore he was
either the knee cut off his carotid artery and killed his brain or it didn't.
And that would show.
And that's not what he died of. So again, I don't think,
could the heart issue have been caused by an issue?
But is
breathing?
that beyond a reasonable doubt? Absolutely not.
Okay.
So he's not going to get a fair trial. He's absolutely screwed because that city's going to burn. All the cities are going to burn if he doesn't. A freaking porn star guy who did, or guy who did amateur porn, who put a gun to a pregnant lady's belly and said was going to kill her baby if they didn't do it, was passing fake currency, who resisted arrest, who took fentanyl, who took crystal meth, died during an arrest. Let me weep for the world. And then his family got $20-something million. Did his family get $20-something million? That dude wasn't going to make $20 for the rest of his life. And they're going to give him $23 million? Why? Black guilt? White guilt? Whatever the hell it is? It's absolutely ridiculous. Every single person that you arrest or put on their belly and put handcuffs, I can't breathe. Particularly big guys do that.
Well, I know that the issue is, or one of the things that's not on the news, is that he was already saying that prior to being in that position.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing is trying to understand why did he stay in that position for as long as he did, especially when there was increasing kind of evidence that he was passing away and not try to accept aid.
I don't think that guy meant to kill him in the slightest. I don't think he realized what was going on. He was on drugs. He's just on them. He's another erratic guy. Was it stupid? Yeah, it was stupid. Yeah. Was it unnecessary? Yeah, it was unnecessary. Do I think it played a factor in killing him? No, I don't.
You don't?
I don't think it played a factor in killing him. So I just think it's inconvenient that was going on, that they gave them an alibi for this guy to die, and then they're going to have dueling toxicology reports, doing whatever, which is all reasonable doubt. If they have a reasonable jury that isn't afraid for their life, they're gonna.
Well, and I think what you said, as far as kind of
which the media is negligent in setting this standard. They shouldn't be allowed to talk about this crap. They shouldn't be allowed to speculate on this crap. They should just report crap. And if there was ever a trial that this stuff should be locked down, it should be this stuff right now. And then let the decision come out and then release everything. Like this stuff where they're breaking stuff in real time as it happens should not happen. Let the verdict come out and then we should get all the data.
How common is it for the trials to be public like they are versus private? And who makes that decision?
I don't know.
They probably wanted it kind of visual to the public so that people couldn't say that they did.
Well, this is all racial now, and it's all BLM, and it's all garbage.
Yeah.
Right? Just like Eric Brown. This is all garbage. Hands up, don't shoot didn't happen. Right?
Michael
Brown. Michael Brown. It's all crap. And it's just all garbage. And, the being a cop, I was in Tennessee, and I think I was in a cigar bar, and I ran into the one liberal probably in the whole town. And, he's talking about judging cops and all this stuff. And I'm like, bro, you coach a game for a living. These guys have to make decisions in the pitch black of night, with not knowing anything, knowing that people want to kill them. And if they get it wrong, they're either going to go to jail, go to the hospital, go to the morgue, or get sued into extinction. Mm-hmm. It's an impossible standard, which is why tie goes to the cop. You have to give the cop the benefit of the doubt. Mm-hmm. Now, if there is a bunch of emails or notes where he's like, I'm going to try to kill someone, or any of that, of course, then it totally changes everything.
Which I can't remember. Did Chauvin have a history?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just, to me, absolutely boggling that the news media can be, again, just like they did with the Trump thing. They ran with shots fired, this, that. Trump supporters, armed Trump supporters stormed the Capitol. No weapons recovered. No shots fired except for the one cop who murdered a Trump supporter, an Air Force veteran. Murdered. If there's one person who's been murdered by a cop, it was a girl crawling through a window that was executed by a black Capitol police officer who we still don't have his name. We don't know anything, and they covered that crap up. And then they tried to say that Trump supporters killed a cop when it turns out, lo and behold, he went home and died of a stroke. He didn't get beat with a fire hydrant like they all lied. But guess what? It was enough to drive everyone away from Trump, to make him look guilty, to make this whole thing go away so that they could get what they wanted.
Well, I mean, that's the way it goes, is when it matters as far as getting the votes or support or anything like that, they'll go with whatever narrative. And now the same thing that's happening with Hunter Biden and
oops,
Joe Biden's already in office, and it's like, they're doing their retractions, but now it doesn't matter. It's like they already got the people where they need them to be.
Was it Twitter and Facebook took down? I can't remember which one, so I don't want to say there, but social media companies took down the Washington Post's
that was at least
feed for the Hunter Biden report when it was true. 100% true. And then NPR had to print a retraction saying that they put a story that said the national intelligence community said that the Hunter Biden thing was Russian disinformation, and they never said that.
It's like that little saying,
it's so disgusting,
little, too late,
dirty.
It doesn't even matter.
Good enough to get people we know to vote for that.
Our president.
Our dementia in chief.
God love him.
God love him. God help us. God help us.
God help us.
So.
Do you need a drink of water?
I do.
Here you go. He hasn't had one of those in a while. A good old Jason rant.
Sorry, guys.
I'm pretty impressed you kept crap was the worst thing that you said.
Well, that's the Holy Spirit working in me, trying to not make me swear. I do find that depending on who I'm talking to, I fall into old habits.
Yes.
If it's a friend that I tend to cuss with, I've cussed with more.
Well, if they're still swearing at their regular level.
So I had a challenge. I have a friend of mine, longtime friend, forever, come to me for advice on marriage issues. And he's a diehard atheist, wants no part of God, and trying to advise them in a way that they would receive it. I was challenged, guys. I was really challenged.
Because the struggle, if they're Christians, the advice is kind of, as Christians, you're called to kind of work it out and maintain the sanctity of your marriage and forgive what needs to be forgiven. And
there was just no,
but there's not that. And even if one party in this is a Christian but not both, and you can't say that they're both working towards the same goals, it's a very challenging situation.
Yeah, well, it just made me so thankful to be in a Christian marriage where forgiveness is abundant and grace is abundant. Because they've just been keeping scores with each other for decades, and they've never given grace, or gotten grace, and I just can't even imagine being in a relationship like that. Again,
you can.
Well, yeah, I can. But I mean, now having been in a Christian marriage, and a healthy Christian marriage, I don't know anybody who's got a marriage like us. I mean, I'm sure there's people out there and all that stuff, but the level of trust, the level of grace, the level of, we are constantly trying to outdo each other and do things for one another and go out of our way and put ourselves second, and it's reciprocal.
Yeah. I think, it's living out what the Christian marriage is supposed to be, and we've talked about that before. and that is sad and very challenging. And we have some supporters. We know that they're kind of, it's a one-way street, and that they're a Christian and their partner is not, and that's almost harder to deal with versus two non-believers, because you have one person who's trying to do it the Christian way, in a healthy way, but they are not receiving that back, and so it's, where is that give and take? So it is a delicate balance, and it, as Jason said, I mean, he's so good at offering advice, but that's all of our advice, or his advice now, is kind of Christian focused and Christian based, and it's, what do you say to someone who's not there and doesn't want to be there?
I had to give him two levels of advice. I said, I think you're messing up in this way, but if you're telling me that you can't do this, then you should do this. But it was tough. And one of the more challenging things, with my faith, that I've had to do with someone who, again, has no faith. And,
Yeah. And I mean, the core of the issue for them is, do they stay married or do they not? And right now they're kind of in limbo. And so I think, even if the advice is contrary to what you'd say out of Christian principles of trying to save the marriage kind of at all costs, it's at least encouraging them to move forward into a healthier situation versus the limbo that they're in.
Yeah, and that's basically what it came down to. It was time to make a decision and move on it.
Yeah.
My Bible reading, I've been keeping up with it. I'm actually a couple days behind, but I was way far behind. Lauren, how many days behind are you in the Bible reading plan this year?
24.
24 days behind.
Yeah.
What are you going to do to catch up on that? Do you want to make a promise to our audience and to God that you're going to make him a priority?
Well, don't
or
say
is your
that.
snooze time going to?
Oh, you are really
Is that
throwing
gonna,
it. I see that bus coming. Holy smokes.
Just wondering. I'm just asking you in a conversation.
Okay, guys, is this how one should lovingly encourage someone to go spend time with God by guilting them in front of an audience?
I'm just asking you a question.
Yeah. I'm working on between 2 and 4 readings a day to get caught up on the 24 that I'm behind.
What was the record you've fallen by? Because it sounds like you might have been further behind than that if you're doing 2 to 4 a day.
I was closer to 30. I have been praying and talking to God every day, but I have not been in the Word every day. So
I understand
I'm not
that.
disconnected. I'm just not reading.
God texted you. How rude not to read it. To quote Ken Graves.
Yes, I know you love to pull out the Ken quotes.
So anyways.
That's how I woke up this morning, actually, as he said, Lauren, get out of bed. God texted you.
Well, after a couple snoozes on the alarm.
2.
2, right. Couple snoozes on the alarm, and she was showing no signs of life. It's just, hey, I'm going to ruin everyone else's sleep and still not get up.
Okay. I see where this is going. I see where this is going. Brandy, I appreciate your grace. Thank you very much.
All right. So unfortunately, let's say there's a couple things here. I won't go over Victor's
Victorness.
meal for the night, but he says he's in a marriage without being married. I don't know what that means. John said, unfortunately, when respect and forgiveness is lost, so sadly, so is the marriage. I completely agree, John. Victor said, on the air therapy. I think that means an air mattress. What's that? Oh, on air therapy. What are you talking about? I'm just having a conversation with my co-host about our Bible reading habits.
Yeah. Okay.
And then Brandy said, Lauren, I will show you grace because you are graceful.
Thank you. Somebody is.
I'm just saying, usually you're so good at stuff, so. But anyways, we're doing a chronological Bible reading plan, and Brandy's a part of the group, as well as Texas Kaz, who we haven't seen on in this program for a while. Texas Kaz, when you're listening to this, where have you been? Where have you been? Anyways, but he's been up to date on his Bible reading at least. And we went right into the Psalms, and that was like a buzzsaw. I mean,
Where I am now.
It's a struggle. And then we went from Psalms to Proverbs, and the Proverbs are great, right? Proverbs are little drops. Every line is a drop of wisdom. And if you just live by the Proverbs, right, you would have an amazing, great life. But it's not a story.
Yeah.
Right? It's not like the rest of it where you're reading about Samson or Moses or, whoever you choose, right?
Yeah.
It's a struggle, but I'm coming out of the Psalms now. I'm in the Proverbs now, and I'm getting ready to go back into it. So I'm looking forward to that. And then the other thing is I'm going to start listening to one of those Bibles that is, with the different voices and the actors. I got a bound set over here somewhere that is all of the voices where they act it out dramatically. So it's not just what? It look like you're laughing at me.
No, of course you have that.
Yeah. And it's just, I think that would be, it's a faster way to download a lot of it into the brain.
Mm.
And then go back through the study Bible and dig in on things that I struggle with.
Victor, deep. Wow. Good days,
Victor. Holy
long
smokes.
days, sad days. As life goes on, the past is not the present. As deep, Victor.
Wow, man. That's way beyond.
That's way better than gummy bears,
Way
Victor. Do
better
more
than
of
gummy
that.
bear talk,
Less gummy
yeah.
bear, more of that.
But I'm excited to get back into the stories, and we're getting ready to wrap up. I should be getting ready to wrap up a lot of the Old Testament soon, and diving into the New, which I can't wait. Absolutely can't wait. But I just find such pearls of wisdom in the Old Testament. And Ken is so good at pointing those out. So
Yeah.
anything else you want to cover tonight?
Okay. Well, in my reading today, I did 2 screenshots. I was trying to remember what exactly about this, but I think it resonated kind of with how we've been talking recently about kind of the give it up to God, kind of let him take over and commit to that.
Yep.
And so this is Psalm 37, 5. Commit your way to the Lord, trust in him, and he will act.
Yeah.
That
Ken
sounds
told me
familiar.
to meditate on that all the time
That-
when we were
that one?
That
Okay.
one was the one he told me to meditate on the whole time we were in Maine.
And then this one I had a little bit of a question about, I guess. Psalm 58. And it's kind of, we've had the talk before about kind of how David calls down all of these curses and stuff on people. But this is about people who do not believe. They're not believers, and so they're kind of going the way of the wicked. And so Psalm 58:10, the righteous will rejoice when he sees the vengeance. He will bathe his feet in the blood of the wicked. And it just seemed to me, aren't we called, we're called to be sad when we aren't able to save people, right? And like he's kind of out here, saying
David is challenging because David calls down curses on his enemies like, whoa, right? And, I've asked 2 pastors about this, Ken and Joel, and both of them kind of gave very similar answers. One is a lot of people will try to say that he was talking about evil spirits or the devil or demons.
Mm-hmm.
And we all know that that's absolutely garbage. He was cursing real people.
Right.
And so when is it okay to curse people? And that's when I kind of, was talking with Ken and I brought up, just the military perspective.
Yeah.
I don't think David was praying for that for his personal enemies. I think he was praying for the curses and everything else down on Israel's enemies, right?
Mm-hmm.
As the leader of the nation, he was calling that down. I mean, I don't know David's heart, but I would understand that.
Yeah. It just, the way that is worded in that they are gleeful about the death of someone who walked in the wicked way, and at least through kind of current thought with Jesus, and I know we are supposed to be sad when we haven't saved somebody, right? And they die having not known Jesus.
Yeah. Yep.
And so it's just that wording kind of caught my attention anyways.
No, I think that that you're spot on. I think we should ask Ken about it. So copy that or send me that screenshot, and we'll ask him with it, because I think that would...
He's probably going to... I mean, the same way that he explained about David, yes, David was cursing people, but that's not what we're supposed to do now. That's one of those differences. Old Testament, New Testament.
Yeah.
And that's probably going to be a similar answer, would be my guess.
Right. But man, still pretty hardcore.
Yeah.
Laughing.
See, I did my reading.
All right, guys. Well, I think we're going to wrap this one up, and Lauren's going to pray us out.
You didn't pray us in.
Oh, look at that. See, that was her wicked grin. See, that was her, I'm going to get you for throwing me under the bus.
That's not get you for praying. I'm just saying. It's your turn.
I'll pray us out. No, fine. It's fine. Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, we come to you now. We come to you so thankful for the fellowship of this audience. So thankful for the woman holding my hand here right now. We come to you in agreement, Lord, to say that we want to walk in your light. Lord, I ask that you send your Holy Spirit out to everybody who's watching this and meet them where they're at and pull them deeper into you, Lord. They want to serve you, and show them how they can. I pray all these things in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Have a great night. See you on Wednesday.
Me Friday, him Wednesday.